Thank you for tuning in to the best parenting show on the internet, Post Daily Dose.
It's the Post. It's the Post. It's the Post. The Post Daily Dose. It's the Post. It's the Post. It's the Post. The Post Daily Dose. It's the Post. It's the Post.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sweaty. Hey Posties, Kristi, Saul, the co-founder of the Post+Institute, coming at you live today. Big Papa is en route, traveling to Ohio for the multicultural, I think it's a multicultural adoption camp. Anyway, I know it's going to be really cool because it's going to have a lot of families, a lot of diversity, a lot of sharing, a lot of fun, a lot of learning, a lot of loving. And so that is pretty awesome. So actually, I was in the gym when I got the text from Brian that he needed me to pitch in tonight. So I thought I'd just hop on here real quick. Hey, Mimi, nice to see you. And hopefully I can be fast enough to get in here to this deep stretch class that I'm needing because I carry a lot of stress in my shoulders and in my hips. So where do you carry your stress? Hey, Tammy, oh my gosh. My church friend, my buddy, Tammy Brown. How cool. Man, that makes me so happy. Kind of adds a little pressure, makes me want to make sure I say something good. So as you guys know, I tend to tell stories. That's a little bit easier way for me to teach and share. And it was crossing my mind today when Brian asked me to do this, just the thought of how often we feel like if we're not punishing when our children misbehave, if we don't punish, then what are we supposed to do? Like, we feel like we're not doing anything because sometimes doing nothing is the best thing that we can do. So I'm going to just tell a story about this. It was my story. Actually, I've got so many stories of mistakes, but this one actually went really well. So it was when Brian and I and our group were operating the adolescent boys group home in Virginia. And if you guys don't know about that project that we did, you know, I'll tell you what, Brian+Post is crazy. He is crazy, and he is full of love, and he is full of passion, compassion, and confidence. And so he had been teaching this model to families. He'd been using the model within our own family, and it felt like there was a huge need in Virginia, and we had a great opportunity, and we also wanted to have the experience of firsthand using this model with like literally the toughest kids. These are kids who had been sent out of state to treatment in other states. And you know, states don't just do that. They don't give their money to another state unless they have just exhausted all of their efforts. And so those were the kids that we were bringing back into Virginia, adolescent boys. And you know, most treatment programs are going to have this mentality that you need to have great big huge brawny male staffs and great big locks on the doors and bars on the windows. And you know, we just had a house. We had a house, and we had ordinary people that we trained for our staff. We had a no restraint policy, which meant we could not restrain them. And in fact, we never needed to, which was quite phenomenal. So the story I want to tell you guys is about a situation that happened between a young man who later became my son and his housemate. And the situation was that the housemate had started talking to a girl that the other young man had been talking to. And you know, adolescent boys, that's going to be time to fight. So my one of the boys, the one who had felt he'd been done wrong, he stayed up all night long brewing and stewing, wouldn't talk to anybody, just brewing and stewing. And I was the first one on the morning shift, and he paced around the house banging this great big huge, you know, like a chain that you would use to tow a car. He's banging that chain all over the house, trying to wake up the housemate who had done him wrong, in his opinion. And I'll tell you, I was terrified. And I sat there on the couch in the downstairs and just prayed and meditated. I prayed and meditated for calm and peace, and mostly my calm and peace, because I was a nervous wreck. I was terrified that they were going to have a huge fight, that somebody was going to have to go to the hospital, I was going to have to call the police, you know, all the crazy things that you're thinking are going to happen. So when the other housemate, he was a great big guy, you know, he's 6'7", a 17-year-old stocky young man, and the other guy's about 5'4", kind of a little guy, but boy, he was hot mad. And he got up into his housemate's face and he told him all the reasons he was so mad. And I took a big deep breath, and so did his housemate. And he said, "You know what, brother? You're right. That was wrong of me." And I think I cried because I just needed to let the stress out. You know, that could have gone 9 kinds of different ways in any other environment. In any other environment, somebody would have been restrained way early on. You know, he would have been yelled at for having that chain. He would have, the police would have been called. Somebody would have put their hands on him, and that would have been a fight right there. And so, this model really works. And I know sometimes you guys feel like you have to punish them for them to learn their lesson. But what we know about kids who have been through really tough places is that punishment just teaches, it just speaks to their core of rejection. It speaks to their core of not being good enough. It speaks to their core experiences of abandonment. So the more often we can take a great big deep breath, and from the outside world it may look like we are doing nothing, but I'm telling you, I'm doing a whole lot of work inside by trying to create and trying to emit this calm energy, this assurance that somehow we're going to get through this, and somehow love will prevail. So with that, you guys, thanks for tuning in. I'm sorry Big Papa wasn't with us. I'm going to go in and catch this deep stretch. And again, I encourage you guys to, sort of notice for yourselves, where do you hold your stress? For me, it's my shoulders and my hips. So I'm going to go stretch that out, breathe into those places. I encourage you guys to listen to your body and give it what it needs. And so as Big Papa says, in any given moment, we have 2 options. We can take 2 to 3 to 20 deep breaths if that's what we need to connect with love and to calm down and to trust that if it's not life and death, we don't need to make it that way. Or we can just keep doing the same thing and, act out of our blueprints of fear and give it another try another day. So with that, you guys, good evening. You guys have a great night. Love your loves. Take a minute and just go notice how amazing your kids are, and let that just shine through your eyes. Good night, you all.